Hi, welcome to the demonstration of Cohana, a cohort analysis engine. Let's consider the following problem. A hospital wants to know the side effects of a new medicine A on patients divided by different ages who are diagnosed with disease B. Each patient is monitored after taking the medicine at least 2 times by observing abnormal values in daily conducted lab test C. Let's look at our data. We have the following columns: ID, birth year, event, disease, medicine, lab test, value, and time. More details about the dataset can be found in our paper. The first step requires us to upload a dataset, which can be from a local file, Dropbox, or G Drive. So let's load a local file. Next, we label each column with either ID, event, event-related, value, or time labels. ID refers to each user's identity, event refers to the actions of the users in the dataset, event-related and value are other text or integer columns, and time will indicate the timestamp of each action. Let's finish labeling our columns. In step 3, we get to define our metric. We start by selecting retention over patients. We could also have chosen other aggregators such as sum or count as the metric. The final step of the query builder requires us to define our cohort metric, user selection, and birth criteria. The cohort metric is the property we want to measure for each cohort at each age. Here, we want to measure the retention over the lab test event. We select lab test type C falling between the values of 45 and 130. This means that we consider a patient retained at age N if the result of his lab test type C falls between the values 45 and 130 N days after he is born into his cohort. Next up is user selection, which is the subset of all patients we want to consider for our analysis. We are interested in patients diagnosed with disease B at least once in any 7-day period. Finally, we specify our birth criteria. This governs when and how a patient is considered born into a cohort, and also which cohort he or she is born into. Here, we consider a patient born when he is prescribed medicine A twice. We group the cohorts by their birth years, starting from 1950 to 2000, with a step of 10. Note that birth events can be chained together to create more complex birth sequences. Let's hit Submit to send the query to Cohana. Cohana generates 2 charts, a line chart and a heat map. Let's look at some of the functionalities of the line chart. We can hide certain cohorts, switch to a bar chart representation, restore to the original view, drag to zoom into a certain subsection, and also view data used in generating the charts. In the heat map, the y-axis represents our various cohorts, and the x-axis represents the different ages. Each square represents the percentage of patients retained for a certain cohort at a specific age. Therefore, each row is the retention of a particular cohort as it ages. We can also apply a filter over the ranges of retention we wish to see by dragging the slider at the bottom. That concludes our demo. Thank you very much for your attention.